Good morning and welcome to another episode of Morning Thoughts. So most of you have probably seen by now the video or the variation of the video called the Life Jar. It's been circulating the internet. It's been on Facebook, YouTube, and there's different variations of it, different versions. But it started out as a lesson that a professor had given in one of the schools, and so I wanted to talk about my opinion, or rather my version of how how I see it. And if you haven't seen the video, I suggest you Google it, or go on YouTube and just look for the Life Jar, and I'm sure that over a dozen different variations, different versions will pop up. So basically the concept is very, very simple, right? Well, the jar, the empty jar, represents life, your life, okay? And when we are born, it's empty, right? There's nothing really in it yet, and it's neither good or bad. It just is. And then over a period of time, we start filling it with content. We start filling it with different objects. These objects represent things that are important to us, things that are less important to us, and things that are trivial. So the larger objects, or as it's been portrayed in the video, the golf balls, represent the really important parts of your life. Your health, your family, your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, all the things that are really important, and a foundation really of what your life is. And so they fill the void in the jar first. Good morning, Tamara. And they fill that void first. Then the less important things, but still important things, go in next, and those are represented either by the small pebbles, or peanuts, or M&Ms, or whatever. So those things are also super important. Those things are like your the house, the cars, the job, and things like that. And then we seem to always find room for those things in our life, although they're not as important as, let's say, your health and your happiness and your family, and the food and the water that we all need to sustain. They're still important. It's important to have a job, to have a purpose, to have a way to support your family, to thrive, to keep your engine going. Without purpose in life is meaningless. We all have a purpose. Not everyone knows what it is, and not everyone can put their finger on what it is just yet. Maybe you're at the point in your life that you feel like you have no purpose, and you're kind of reaching for something and you don't know what that is. And I gotta say, you're not alone. There's many people like that. And this is one of the reasons why I make these videos and I post the content that I post, because I want to make people think and make people move out of that mud that they're stuck in, so they realize what their purpose is, what the intention is for their life, what they want to do with it. So then the next part of that being filled into that jar is out of sand, or or small gravel, or whatever. And those are the things that are really not important but nice to have. And that's your TV time, playing video games, going to the movies, basically like time fillers. Those things are really not important, because if you spend the rest of your life watching TV, then obviously you're not going to be accomplishing any of the things that you set out to accomplish. Okay? And what's important in the concept of the video, what's important in the order in which you fill that life jar is the order of the things that you fill, how you fill the jar, what you fill the jar with. It's super important to know in which order to do that, because if you're going to put in all the small stuff first, right, all the stuff that are less important, but easy to fill the space with, the TV, wasting time with people that are absolutely not contributing anything to your life, to your expansion, to your dreams, to your goals, people that are holding you back, playing video games and not really learning or striving or growing, whether it's physically, strength wise, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, then that void, that bottom layer is going to get filled really quickly with the sand, and you will still have room for other things, but because now the smaller things are occupying your initial layer, you will not have things for, you will not have room for the larger things in your life. So as the jar gets filled, it is quite obvious that the smaller things, they fill the nooks and crannies of the jar, and that's in the space in between the larger things, right, between the larger golf balls. If you don't make room or time for things like your job, your dreams, your goals, then obviously you're going to suffer in those areas of your life. And then lastly, the things that are the largest, those golf balls, that's your health, that's your happiness, the type of food that you eat, the type of drinks that you drink, how do you take care of yourself? And when I mean health, when I say health, I mean, not just your physical health, but your spiritual health, your mental health, all aspects of your health, because we can't be healthy in one part of our life and not see the negative results in another. So if you are physically healthy, it doesn't mean that you are spiritually or mentally healthy, because you have to exercise those areas too, right? So if you don't work your mind, your muscle, then same as your physical muscle, you will begin to atrophy that muscle. So you have to work that too. Your spiritual muscle, if you don't exercise that, if you don't believe in faith, if you don't whatever you decide to believe in, I'm not forcing people to believe in God. I personally do, but whatever you decide to believe in, it doesn't really matter to me, as long as there's something for you to believe in. And if you don't meditate, if you don't get in touch with your interpersonal side, then your spiritual muscle will begin to atrophy as well. So all those things are super important, and we tend to fill our void, our jar of life, with all the things that are trivial and really are not important to us. We worry about things that can or cannot happen, and 96% of all the things that we worry about, 96% of all the things that we worry about have either already happened and there's absolutely nothing we can do to change that, or may not ever happen in our life. May or may not ever happen in our life. So it leaves only the 4% for us to really, really worry about. 4%. So think about it in the grand scheme of things. Out of all the things that you worry about, the chances of anything, any one of them happening, is 4%. Okay? And out of 100% of your life, is it really, really worth it for you to spend the time on things that may never, ever happen? Those things that you worry about will never happen. In the meantime, you're filling that space, okay, in the life jar with all those trivial, non-important little pieces of sand that will take away from the important things in your life. Health, family, spending time with family, spending time working on your dreams, to making them happen. A lot of us are so focused, we fixated on, what we don't have, rather than enjoying and cherishing the things that we do have, because the things that we do have could be gone in an instant, but yet we're so fixated on the lack. I don't have enough, and so we worry about all those things, and we start to fill that jar with things that don't matter, chasing more money or better cars, bigger homes, because someone else has that, and it's absolutely not important, right? Because now you're occupying the space of the important stuff, those golf balls, right, which represent the foundation of your life. Because if you're driving a really expensive car but you're not healthy, guess what? It makes absolutely no freaking difference, okay, what kind of car you're driving. If you're sick, if you're terminal, it makes absolutely no difference how much money you have in the bank, okay? So you have to really pay attention to the important things, the golf balls, right? What does your life consist of today? What are the things that you paying attention to today? What is it that you really want to get out of life? And are you getting that? Are you filling your life jar with things that don't matter, right? They're not important. They may be urgent, but they're not important. Okay? What this video doesn't really talk about, but other concepts do, is that our life is generally, the things that are going on in our life are generally broken into 4 different quadrants, right? You have the urgent but not important. You have the important but not urgent. You have urgent and important, and then you have not urgent and not important. And most of us tend to live in the area that is urgent but less important, right? And those are the emails, the text messages, the social media like Facebook and Instagram, someone walking into our workspace and just bombarding us with something, the phone calls, things that are maybe urgent but not important. And so, we devalue ourselves, we devalue our life, we devalue the effort and the values that we bring and we represent, and we start filling a void, the time in our life jar with those small pebbles, with sand that is ultimately not important for our success. So what I'm urging you to do today is that, first, if you haven't watched the video, watch it. If you have watched the video, watch it again, and think about, what do the golf balls in the video represent in your life? What things have you ran out of room for because you filled your life jar with less important sand? Drinking, overeating, not exercising, watching too much TV, playing video games, and what do you have to replace that with? What is that one or several golf balls that are kind of hanging out on the side on the table, waiting to be put into your life jar? Is it your health that's suffering? Is it your job that's suffering? Is it your family that's suffering, directly or indirectly because of your action or inaction? Have you consciously made a decision to exclude that golf ball from your life jar? Or is it something that just kind of happened? See, the thing about the small things, and why is it so easy to fill the jar with the small things, the sand, is because they're so small that most of the time we don't even pay attention to them, and we start to develop a habit of filling the jar with those small things. We worry about the small things. We spend spend time doing those small things, and before we realize it, the jar is halfway full, and the other stuff is hanging out on the side. We don't have time for that anymore, right? Going to the gym, exercising, losing a couple of pounds, you know, focusing on work, focusing on our dreams, focusing on our family, spending time on things that matter, you know, exercising our mind, expanding. You know, when was the last time you read a book? When was the last time you spent time actually paying attention to some positive and important content, something that would make you think instead of just working on autopilot? You know, you got to think about these things. You know, I do on a daily basis, and you don't have to be like me. But I tend to think that if you came here and you're watching this video, that maybe you are interested, and maybe there's something that's lacking in your life. You know, and it's not time or money. Maybe it's resourcefulness. In you know, resourcefulness as far as understanding and knowing what to do and how to get to that place where you can do the things that you've dreamed about, the things that you want to do. All right, so again, check out the video. You can Google it. It's called the Life Jar. I did it before I went on. I just wanted to see how many different versions there were, and there was at least a dozen different ones out there. You know, pick the one that you like, or see them all. You know, and for more content and videos, subscribe to my Facebook page, as well as my YouTube channel at information is on the bottom. And I hope to see you again. You know, let me know what your life jar looks like. Take care.